Good morning. Let's try it one more time. Other than the rules chairman. Your appropriations chairman is normally a cheerful human. Let's try this. Good morning. Well done. The hour of convening has arrived, and I'd ask that the Senate come to order. Chair would like to recognize the rules chairman.
Thank you, Mr. President. It's a lovely day here at our state capitol. I'm proud to be a part of the men and women here that are representing their districts like professionals, and those that don't, I'm not for them. Today, according to the senator from the 17th, 19th, today is Go Fly Your Kite Day. It's National Kite Flying Day. And it's also Georgia Farm Bureau Day. And according to the senator from the 3rd, it is Okefenokee Swamp Day here at the Capitol. The journal's been read and found to be correct, Mr. President.
When the senator from the 52nd walks by, you can have him fix that scarf in your pocket. That thing looks like it's about ready to fall out. Is there objection to dispensing with the reading of the journal? The chair hears none, and the reading of the journal is dispensed with. Is there objection to the confirmation of the journal? The chair hears none, and the journal is confirmed. All senators who have bills and resolutions, please bring them to the secretary's desk at this time. Mr. Secretary, first reading and reference of Senate bills and resolutions, please.
Senate Bill 467 by Senator C. of the 34th and others, a bill to be entitled an act to amend Chapter 1 of Title 28 of the OCGA relating to general provisions concerning the General Assembly. So
Reapportionment.
Senate Bill 468 by Senators Jackson of the 41st and others, a bill to be entitled an act to amend Part 1 of Article 5 of Chapter 9 of Title 45 of the OCGA relating to Georgia State Indemnification Fund.
Insurance and labor.
Senate Bill 469 by Senators Harper of the 7th and others, a bill to be entitled an act to amend Article 1 of Chapter 7 of Title 52 of the OCGA relating to general provisions of registration, operation, and sale of watercraft.
Natural resources.
Senate Bill 470 by Senators Robertson of the 29th and others, a bill to be entitled an act to amend Article 13 of Chapter 1 of Title 7 of the OCGA relating to licensing and mortgage lenders and mortgage brokers.
Banks and financial institutions.
Senate Bill 471 by Senators Robertson of the 29th and others, a bill to be entitled an act to amend Code Sections 913.161 and 48.41 of the OCGA relating to where and when sales under education.
Judiciary.
Senate Bill 472 by Senator Kennedy of the 18th, a bill to be entitled an act to amend Article 1 of Chapter 2 of Title 46 of the OCGA relating to organization and members of the Public Service Commission. So as to
Reapportionment.
Senate Resolution 450 by Senators Mullis of the 53rd and others, a bill to resolution creating the Senate Study Committee on Georgia Music Heritage and for other purposes. That completes the order, Mr. President.
Rules. First reading and reference of House bills and resolutions, please.
House Bill 780 by Representatives Leverett of the 33rd and others, a bill to be entitled an act to amend Title 47 of the OCGA relating to retirement and pensions so as to provide for membership of full-time judges and statewide. House Bill 826 by Representatives Earhart of the 36th and others, a bill to be entitled an act to incorporate the city of Lost Mountain.
Slogo General.
House Bill 840 by Representatives Carson of the 46th and others, a bill to be entitled an act to incorporate the city of Vinings, to provide a charter, to provide for penalties, to provide for definitions and construction.
Slogo General.
House Bill 872 by Representatives Park of the 101st and others, a bill to be entitled an act to amend an act relating to education districts for the election of members of the Board of Education of Gwinnett County.
Slogo.
House Bill 891 by Representatives Williamson of the 115th and others, a bill to be entitled an act to amend Chapter 1 of Title 7 of the OCGA relating to financial institutions so as to provide for numerous updates to amend Chapter 3 of Title 7 of the OCGA.
Banking and financial institutions.
House Bill 899 by Representatives Williamson of the 115th and others, a bill to be entitled an act to amend Title 13 of the OCGA relating to contracts so as to provide for the legal effects of the discontinuance of LIBOR-bond contracts.
Banking and financial institutions.
House Bill 1032 by Representatives Corbett of the 174th and others, a bill to be entitled an act to amend an act creating the Board of Commissioners for Charlton County, approved August 4th, 1927, as amended particularly by an act approved.
Slogo.
House Bill 1055 by Representatives Ridley of the 6th and others, a bill to be entitled an act to amend Code Section 41.1 of the OCGA relating to definitions relative to motor vehicles and traffic.
Transportation.
House Bill 1101 by Representative Green of the 151st, a bill to be entitled an act to amend an act providing a homestead exemption for Early County.
Slogo.
House Bill 1102 by Representative Green of the 151st, a bill to be entitled an act to amend an act creating the Board of Commissioners of Early County.
Slow go.
House Bill 1104 by Representative Houston of the 170th, a bill to be entitled an act to amend an act creating the Board of Commissioners of Cook County.
Slow go.
House Bill 1105 by Representative Houston of the 170th, a bill to be entitled an act to amend an act creating the Cook County Board of Education. Approved.
Slow go.
House Bill 1106 by Representatives Williams of the 148th and others, a bill to be entitled an act to amend an act creating the Board of Commissioners of Wilcox County.
Slow go.
House Bill 1108 by Representatives Rhodes of the 120th and others, a bill to be entitled an act to amend an act creating the Board of Commissioners
Slow
of Putnam.
go.
House Bill 1109 by Representative Mathick of the 73rd and others, a bill to be entitled an act to amend an act establishing the Griffin Spalding
Slow
County.
go.
House Bill 1110 by Representatives Mathick of the 73rd and others, a bill to be entitled an act to amend an act creating the Board of Commissioners of Spalding County.
Slow go.
House Bill 1111 by Representatives Meeks of the 178th and others, a bill to be entitled an act to amend an act creating the Board of Commissioners of Pierce County. Approved.
Slow go.
House Bill 1112 by Representative Meeks of the 178th, a bill to be entitled an act to amend an act providing for the composition and selection of the Board of Education of Pierce County. Approved.
Slow go.
House Bill 1113 by Representative Perkle of the 155th, a bill to be entitled an act to amend an act creating the Board of Commissioners of Ben Hill County.
Slow go.
House Bill 1114 by Representative Benton of the 31st and others, a bill to be entitled an act to amend an act to reconstitute the law governing the Jackson County.
Slow go.
House Bill 1115 by Representative Benton of the 31st, a bill to be entitled an act to amend an act providing a new charter of the City of Commerce.
Slow go.
House Bill 1116 by Representative Benton of the 31st and others, a bill to be entitled an act to amend an act to create a Board of County Commissioners for the County of Jackson.
Slow go.
House Bill 1117 by Representative Stevens of the 164th and others, a bill to be entitled an act to authorize the assessment and collection of a technology fee by the State Court of Bryan County.
Slow go.
House Bill 1118 by Representatives Ballinger of the 23rd and others, a bill to be entitled an act to amend an act providing for the numbering of positions and membership of
Slow
Cherokee
go.
County. House Bill 1119 by Representatives Campbell of the 171st and others, a bill to be entitled an act to amend an act relating to the Board of Commissioners of Decatur County.
Slow go.
House Bill 1122 by Representatives Campbell of the 171st and others, a bill to be entitled an act to providing for the composition of
Slow go.
House Bill 1123 by Representatives Hogan of the 179th and others, a bill to be entitled an act to amend an act providing for the Board of Education of Glenn County. Approved February 21st.
Slow go.
House Bill 1124 by Representatives Blackman of the 146th and others, a bill to be entitled an act to amend an act reconstituting the Board of Education of Houston County. Approved March 31st, 1994.
Slow go.
House Bill 1125 by Representative Perkle of the 155th, a bill to be entitled an act to amend an act providing for the composition of the Bellantino County.
Slow go.
House Bill 1126 by Representative Deloche of the 167th, a bill to be entitled an act to amend an act creating the Board of Education of McIntosh County. Approved March 14th.
Slow go.
House Bill 1127 by Representatives Carpenter of the 4th and others, a bill to be entitled an act to amend an act creating the Board of Commissioners of Whitfield County. Approved.
Slow go.
House Bill 1128 by Representatives Carpenter of the 4th and others, a bill to be entitled an act to amend an act to revise and restate the law relating to the Whitfield County Board of
Slow
Education.
go.
House Bill 1129 by Representatives Corbett of the 174th and others, a bill to be entitled an act to amend an act providing for the election of the members of the Board of Education of Charlton
Slow
County.
go.
House Bill 1135 by Representative Smith of the 70th and others, a bill to be entitled an act to amend an act providing for the composition of the Board of Education of Coweta County. Approved March 5th, 1984.
Slow go.
House Bill 1136 by Representative Smith of the 70th and others, a bill to be entitled an act to amend an act creating the Board of Commissioners of Coweta County. Approved August 26, 1872. As
Slow
amended.
go.
House Bill 1139 by Representative Werkheister of the 157th, a bill to be entitled an act to amend an act for the election of members of the Board of Education
Slow
of Tatnall.
go.
House Bill 1140 by Representative Irwin of the 28th, a bill to be entitled an act to amend an act changing the method of choosing members of the Banks County Board of Education. Approved April 4th,
Slow go.
House Bill 1141 by Representative Irwin of the 28th, a bill to be entitled an act to amend an act creating the Board of Commissioners for Banks County. Approved.
Slow go.
House Bill 1142 by Representative Gaines of the 117th and others, a bill to be entitled an act to amend an act providing for the merger of the existing independent school system of the Marin County Council.
Slow go.
House Bill 1143 by Representative Ballinger of the 23rd and others, a bill to be entitled an act to amend an act creating the Board of Commissioners of Cherokee County. Approved March 30th, 1989.
And
as
last
amended.
but not least, slow go.
That completes the order, Mr. President.
That's a lot of slow goes. Ms. Secretary, can you please read the reports of standing committees?
Mr. President, the Senate Committee on Judiciary has had under consideration the following legislation and has instructed me to report the same back to the Senate with the following recommendation. Senate Bill 316 do pass by substitute. Respectfully submitted, Senator Strickland of the 17th District Chairman. Mr. President, the Senate Committee on State and Local Government Operations has had under consideration the following legislation and has instructed me to report the same back to the Senate with the following recommendation. Senate Bill 436 do pass, Senate Bill 450 do pass, Senate Bill 451 do pass, Senate Bill 462 do pass, House Bill 945 do pass, House Bill 946 do pass, House Bill 980 do pass, House Bill 983 do pass, House Bill 1012 do pass, House Bill 1014 do pass, House Bill 1015 do pass, House Bill 1016 do pass, House Bill 1017 do pass, House Bill 1023 do pass, House Bill 1024 do pass, House Bill 1025 do pass, House Bill 1026 do pass, House Bill 1027 do pass, House Bill 1060 do pass, House Bill 1061 do pass, House Bill 1063 do pass, House Bill 1066 do pass, House Bill 1067 do pass, House Bill 1073 do pass, House Bill 1074 do pass, House Bill 1075 do pass, House Bill 1076 do pass, House Bill 1081 do pass, House Bill 1082 do pass. Respectfully submitted, Senator Anderson of the 24th District Chairman. Mr. President, the Senate Committee on State and Local Government Operations has had under consideration the following legislation and has instructed me to report the same back to the Senate with the following recommendation. Senate Bill 437 do pass. Respectfully submitted, Senator Anderson of the 24th District Chairman. Back in place the order, Mr. President.
Ms. Secretary, can you please read bills and resolutions for the second time?
Senate Bill 396 by Senator Goodman of the 8th and others, Georgia State Nutrition Assistant Program, SNAP, rename such program to Georgia Grown Farm and Food Bank Program, F2FB. Senate Bill 404 by Senator Albers of the 56 and others, Emergency Medical Services Personnel, Georgia Bureau of Investigation and Federal Bureau of Investigation to retain certain fingerprints under certain conditions, authorized. House Bill 841 by Representative Dollar of the 45th and others, East Cobb City of Incorporate. That completes the order, Mr. President.
All right, it's now time for our morning roll call. Feels like we've had a busy morning already. Time for our morning roll call. Are there any motions to excuse? Looks like a pretty packed room. Chair recognizes the senator from the 39th.
Good morning, Mr. President. I ask for unanimous consent to excuse the senator from the 41st.
Without objection, the senator from the 41st is excused. Any additional motions to excuse? Chair recognizes the senator from the 22nd.
Like unanimous consent, Mr. President, to excuse the senator from the 43rd.
Without objection, the senator from the 43rd is excused. The chair recognizes the senator from the 40th.
Good morning, Mr. President. I ask for unanimous consent to excuse the senator from the 26th.
Without objection, the senator from the 26th is excused. The chair recognizes his good friend, the senator from the 33rd, y'all.
Good morning, y'all. Thank you, Mr. President. I ask for unanimous consent to excuse the senator from the 36th for business inside the Capitol.
Without objection, the senator from the 36th is excused. You must have like a morning hotline where they call in and leave their district number. All right, the secretary will call the roll of senators. Signify your presence by voting the A switch. The secretary will unlock the machine. All right, it's now time for a morning devotional, and I'd ask that all senators take your seats, cease all audible conversations, and doorkeepers, please secure the chamber at this time. It's my honor to recognize the distinguished senator from the 29th to lead us in our Pledge of Allegiance and to introduce to us our chaplain of the day.
Colleagues, if you will, please rise and let's recognize our American flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And now our glorious state flag. I pledge allegiance to the Georgia flag and the principle for which it stands, wisdom, justice, moderation, and courage. Thank you. Colleagues, I learned early in my law enforcement career that the secret to being successful is having the knowledge necessary to go out and do the job. And I realized as a fractured soul, as we all are when we're born onto this planet, that the most important part of my job and the most important part of me that I needed to take care of was my mental health and my spiritual wealth. And so as a single father, I started searching for the perfect place to go and get that education and that support. And I found it at First Baptist Church in Columbus, Georgia. It's not the glorious structure that drew me there, but it was the teacher who resides there who each and every week offered the lesson that I needed as a law enforcement officer and as a single father to go out and do what I was supposed to do, what was right. And by watching this man and becoming a student to this man, I realized why in Columbus, Georgia, not is he only known as the pastor of First Baptist Church, but he's known as Dr. James Elder, and in many circles he's known as the Bishop of Columbus, because people that have never met him will be at the hospital at 4 a.m. in the morning for outpatient surgery, and he's there because a cousin of a friend of somebody called and said that they had a family member that was at the hospital. And all it's done is generate a lot of love in our community and also generated a lot of jealousy amongst the other churches. But Dr. James Elder is a proud graduate of Mercer, got his doctorate at Princeton, and continues to work hard within the community. He was one of the 4 horsemen, as we call them, that brought Mercer Medical School to Columbus, along with Pete Robinson, Mr. Tom Black, and Chairman Richard Smith from over in the House side. These 4 men came up with this idea and pushed it forward in our community is what it is today. And he is the person that drove me to Plains, Georgia, so that I could see the Mercer Clinic there, which we now have a Mercer Clinic in my home county of Harris County, thanks to him accommodating me when I asked the questions. So it gives me great honor to recognize my teacher and the man that I hope will have an altar call at the end of today so that my brother from the 15th can get right, Dr. James Elder.
Thank you, Randy. That is humbling, to say the least. A point of personal privilege, thank you for recognizing Pete Robinson yesterday. What a gift that is for a really great man and was a very dear friend of mine. Lieutenant Governor Duncan, Randy, Ed Harbison, my friend, I am very honored to be here and very grateful to be a part of this. I have such deep respect for Randy and for his place in my life and in our church, his leadership in our church and our community. And Ed, I have such respect for you as well. You've been a good friend for a long time as well. For almost 11 years, I was pastor in Moultrie, Georgia. And there I began a practice at the church of something that I've learned a lot from, and it's been a blessing to me in a lot of ways, been a part of my life in a lot of ways, and that was to do what we call a children's message at the morning service. So I'll bring the children down, we'll have the message, but I learned there too late, but I learned there that you do not ask a lot of questions of the children because you have no idea what they're going to say when you ask them. I asked a question one time there that I'll never forget. There was a little boy named Bradford. He was a precocious young man. He always had the answers to anything that you asked. And so I asked the question, I said, "Do you know what a secret is?" And Bradford said, "Oh, Mr. Jimmy, I know. And I said, "Okay, Bradford, what is a secret?" And he said, "A secret is that my dad got a new job and he's going to quit tomorrow and he hadn't told his boss yet, and it's a secret right now." And I looked and his mom turned blood red, his dad just dropped his head, and his boss looked really surprised on the other side of the sanctuary. Secrets can be used in a lot of different ways. Sometimes they are surprises, and sometimes they're revealing. So today I want to share a secret with each of you. Each of you have been asked, of course, to serve the people of Georgia in this esteemed place. You've come with a full intention to serve and represent in the best way possible, carrying on the great tradition of leadership and paving the way for progress here in our great state of Georgia. And I'm honored to stand before you. I deeply respect and appreciate all that you do. The secret is that this is really not a position of power. It is far more than that, far more than power. The quest for power is seductive and is consuming. And we see a moment in Scripture in Matthew 20, verses 22 and 23, when the mother of James and John, two of Jesus' disciples, came to Jesus and asked him to give her sons positions of power when Jesus came into his kingdom. It was one of the things that a mother might do. It was something that probably the disciples wanted, and it was something that Jesus responded to. And what he said is really quite interesting. It's a wonderful response. He said, "You don't know what you're asking." And then Jesus looked at the disciples, and what he said was, "Can you drink the cup I'm going to drink?" And they said, "Well, we can." And Jesus said to them, "You will indeed drink from the cup, but to sit at my right or left is not for me to grant. These places belong to those for whom they have been prepared by my Father." The question is whether there is something that power bows before. It bows before the will and the purpose of God. And how do we achieve that? We achieve it through service. That's the beautiful part. The Scripture even says, "By love, serve one another." Love doesn't care about power, but it cares deeply about actually doing good things and serving other lives. When we do good things and serve well, we build strong reputations. And strong reputations build influence and respect. And influence and respect make a difference, and they draw the power that needs to be there. In essence, seeking a place of power is empty and really is unworthy of the human experience. Earning the respect that creates clout, which is greater than power, is a worthy use of the brief time that we have on life's stage. I learned this from a man I respect deeply, on whose board I was about to serve. As I was going on the trustees, he sat us down at orientation, and he looked at us and he said, "All of you who are here are about to be trustees." And so we felt a little bit of our oats at that point. And he said, "Let me tell you something about that. You have no power." Everybody gasped a little bit. We're going on your trustees and you're telling us we have no power. And then he took one breath and said, "But you have a lot of clout." And then he followed it up by saying, "That will be in direct proportion to the service that you render. That clout would give us influence that was stronger than power. Power can be won or lost, given or taken, seized or even stolen. It can be conferred in an election or taken away in another, but the power of clout is vested in integrity and in character of the individual. It cannot be taken from us. It's only forfeited when our character fails. So we're totally in control of that. When the disciples sought through their mother positions of power, Jesus said that they were looking in the wrong place. Those seats would be given to those for whom God had prepared them. Power is granted by God to those who know how to serve. And the clout of a servant life is a qualification for having the kind of influence that most seek in power. A part of the preparation would be in how they respond to God's calling to serving others in love, grace, mercy, and care. The quest for power can destroy a person, or an institution, or a business, or even a family. The quest to serve only serves to build up and make better our lives and the world around us. We grew up in a city where there was a man who owned a feed and seed store. He never held a position of power, but he was a man of character, of integrity, and of service. In short, he had an enormous amount of clout. He was faithful to his church. He was kind to those in his community. He loved the area and the people of the area. And I was amazed to see how virtually every person of power in town, mayors, commissioners, judges, bankers, business people, school superintendent, legislators, would all just drop by his feed and seed store to ask him for advice. They may have had the power, but he had the clout. They served for a term, but he influenced for a lifetime. They made decisions, but he influenced the decision by tempering them with love and wisdom. He influenced the life of a little boy who still considers him part of everything that I do. That's clout. It's something that goes with you. It's something no one ever takes away. And no term of clout ever expires. Gandhi once said that the day the power of love overrules the love of power, the world will know peace. And Martin Luther King Jr. said, power without love is reckless and abusive, and love without power is sentimental and anemic. Power at its best is love implementing the demands of justice, and justice at its best is power correcting everything that stands against love. He, my friends, understood the juxtaposition between power and clout. May all of us know the secret as we seek to serve using clout as we've been given the opportunity. May God bless you. You are good people. We treasure what you do. We do not take you for granted. And yes, we do respect you and appreciate the time you put in. And when I know someone like Randy with clout, then it qualifies that respect in this chamber. May God bless each of you. Will you pray with me? Our gracious Lord, please remove from our hearts a love for power and replace it with a higher desire to serve. May you be pleased with what we offer, magnify it, make it effective, empower it as an agent of good. And may you receive the honor and the glory as we use the clout you allow us to have to serve your people. In your precious name we pray. Amen. Amen.
Senate will come back to order. Are there any unanimous consents? The chair sees none. I want to give us a point of reference here. All right, as a point of reference, today is the state of the judiciary, as we've mentioned several times leading up to today. The goal is to be aligned and ready to walk over there in 8 minutes. 8 minutes. So I'm going to ask you to self-police yourself with points of personal privilege and let us know that we got 8 minutes. And then the plan is we will stand in recess, go over there, and then come back to take up the rest of the day's work, including the rules calendar. So just as planning purposes, we will leave the chamber, go to the state of the judiciary, and then come back and start working again. So nobody jump out of here too quickly. Chair recognizes the senator from the 20th for a point of personal privilege.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'm very proud to have the Perry Youth Leadership Group with us here today in the gallery. They're sponsored by the Perry Area Chamber of Commerce, and I wanted us to please recognize them. Let's give them a round of applause. One of their chaperones or escorts today is Houston County Commissioner Dan Perdue. Some of you may know Dan's father, and many of you may know Dan, but welcome, Commissioner, also. A couple of announcements. The Farm Bureau, today is Farm Bureau Day, and the Farm Bureau Luncheon is in the Freight Depot starting at 12, and the program starting at 12:30, and you are all invited. Also, between the Capitol and the CLOB is the Georgia Ag Experience Mobile Classroom, so check that out. Thank you. Bye.
Chair recognizes the senator from the 17th for a point of personal privilege.
Thank you, Mr. President. I've got Senator from the 43rd joining me as well. We have some great folks from Newton County. Speaking of being Farm Bureau Day, we have some folks, young farmer members, Julius Hayes and Kevin Mitchum, County Extension Agent Ashley Bess. We also have FFA members from Newton County, including Trip Marks, Ryan Sewell, Lizzie Paul, and Cindy Ramos, and of course their teacher, Marcus Pollard, all join us today. You guys please stand and let us recognize you. Thank you for joining us today.
Chair recognizes the senator from the 26th for a point of personal privilege.
Thank you, Mr. President. Dr. Benjamin E. Mays made a statement. I only have a minute, only 60 seconds in it. It's up to me to use it or abuse it. Dr. King died for what he believed in. He was young, but he was killed by an assassin's bullet because he believed that every man and woman were equal. If you look at his life, and we all judge from the time we are born to our demise. Everybody likes to live a long life, and so do I. When we came up in school doing integration, we played ball with you. You hugged us. If you were in the band, you hugged us after a performance. At 26, he was gone by assassin's bullet. That meant that Dr. King lived 13,665,600 minutes. Now, I remember back when I came to the General Assembly in '75, had members in the House that wouldn't even speak to me. I don't know why. But Dr. King said he wanted his kids not to be judged by their color, but by the content of their character. So, in my 47 years, I've taken that 60 seconds to use it. At age 71, I've spent 37,317,600 minutes. But my 47 years are 24,703,200 minutes. Now, I have the right to use that 60 seconds to make sure that I do the right thing. We've come to this General Assembly, and when you take Senate Bill 202, and you did it without any impunity because we won an election, I want you to know that what you did would only make us fight a little bit harder. So what I say today to all of you, that minute with 60 seconds in it, I have tried to use it for those 47 years. And it's time that we look at each other and decide that we're going to do the right thing. This bill with gun proliferations is ludicrous. We pass bills in here that a law enforcement officer who knows he arrested a convicted felon and sees something budging out of his pocket that he knows is a gun. But you passed a law in here that said that that officer cannot challenge that felon unless he do something to break the law. But he broke it, and he can't carry a concealed weapon or a gun without a pistol permit. And when you commit a felony, you have to have what they call a restoration of rights. That means you get all your rights back. To get a liquor license, to tow the pistol. But you've gone through scrutiny. But now we are talking about anybody that can go to a gun show, buy a gun. We don't know what his mental condition is or whether or not he's been involved in family violence. But yet we want to pass a bill that makes it hard on law enforcement officers because of proliferation of guns. Mr. President, that's my 60 seconds that I urge you to do the right thing.
Thank you, Senator. All right, we're going to pause for a moment here. Chair's going to recognize the Majority Leader.
Mr. President, I move that the Senate stand in recess for the purpose of convening a joint session to hear an address from the Chief Justice, and that upon the dissolution of that joint session, the Senate stand in recess until 1 p.m. today, at which time the Senate will reconvene.
The Majority Leader has moved that the Senate stand in recess until 1 p.m. today. Is there objection? The chair hears none, and we will stand in recess and be back for business at 1 p.m. back in this chamber. We've got a very busy day. Thank you.